Hey everybody, James Phillips here. Welcome into the second week of the Coach Phillip Bailey Show. Coach Bailey, it's always good to sit down and talk after a win, right?
It is, yeah. I'd much rather be 1-0 than 0-1, that's for sure.
Well, and it's the first win of your head coaching career.
It is, yeah. I won't ever have another first one. So
right.
That's special. That'll always be special.
You cut out some clippings of the newspaper, right? Like you got a scrapbook?
I think my wife probably kept up with that. But, yeah.
Well, let's just go straight into talking about Mars Hill. They came in and they were ready to play. Talk about that team. You warned everybody they were going to be good.
I did, man. I tried to tell you. I told my team all week. I was like, look, guys, this is a good football team, And, I don't know if everybody believed me, but I think everybody does now. Some people get caught up in, a smaller classification and smaller school. And I'm like, guys, this is a very good football team. And, I think a lot of people saw that on Friday night. I think we played better, as the game went on. It took us a little bit to get settled in. But ultimately, we found a way to win, and we're thankful for it. So.
Talk about that first quarter some. They came out, scored early, and you guys were able to get a field goal, but it just seemed like you never got a lot of traction really in the first half altogether.
Yeah, we didn't get to snap it a lot. So they took the ball to start and went right down the field and scored. Our offense was able to sustain the drive and get some points, right, that cut it to 6-3. We were able to score early in the second quarter, score a touchdown and made it 10-3. Had that little deal with Mason, which he made a great play, picking the ball off in the end zone and returning it about 100 yards, and then, didn't carry the football across the goal line the right way. And that's a discussion that me and him have had. And he's a good kid. That's an uncharacteristic thing to do. And that's something that bothers him, and it bothers all of us. Because,
right.
There's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. And we talk a lot around here about doing things the right way, and we pride ourselves on that, and that's not doing things the right way.
Right. Well, I saw him at practice yesterday,
yeah.
And he said that was a very one-way discussion.
It was. Yeah, he didn't have much to say.
Right.
He just heard all of that. So, and again, that's uncharacteristic for him. He knows he made a mistake. It's not how we're going to do things. But it was a valuable lesson that hopefully he learned and everybody watching it learned about carrying the football across the goal line the right way and not trying to celebrate something like that before you achieve it. So anyway, but that put their offense right back down there. I think our defense was on the field for maybe 24 consecutive snaps, something like that. So they really controlled the time of possession, controlled the ball in the first half, and then we went into the locker room. Thankfully, we were ahead. We were ahead 10-6, and then we had the lightning delay that left us in the locker room for a while and came back out. Got the ball to start the second half. We're able to go down and score, push it out to 17-6. And then I thought for the most part we played well in the second half. And like I said, we're able to get a win. So we're thankful for it.
Now, that first drive of the second half, you guys ran the ball every play.
We did.
And I've seen that several times the last few years. Is that something you design sometimes? Just come out of the second half and we're going to run it out?
Yeah, sometimes. And that's the plan. Every team is different, game plan for them, but there's kind of a base, a template, I guess, that you go by. You want to stretch people horizontally and vertically early in the game, make the defense run side to side. Try to open it up as much as you can. You want to snap it as many times as you can in the first half and then as many as you have to in the second half. So, typically just coming out of the locker room, you want to start going right at them and hammering them. And if you have success doing that, then continue to do that. And if you need to move on to the next thing on your sheet, then you can do that. But, in the second half, that's when you want to be able to run the football and control the line of scrimmage.
Game ends up 30-20. Probably score not completely indicative of how y'all played in the second half, but a big win nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely a big win. That's a quality football team, and we're glad to be 1-0.
How does playing a team like that prepare you for game number 2?
Well, Coleman and Mars Hill, styles of offense are similar. Mars Hill is true wing T, and they're very good at running it. Coleman is similar to that. Their wing T, there's some option principles in what they do. Ultimately, they're going to pack that thing in there, and they're going to try to run over you. They got number 6 that plays fullback for them. He's a very good football player. That boy's a load. He's tough to tackle, and they're going to bang him in there. So the styles of offense are similar. That physical style of play with tight ends, fullbacks, wing backs. Those type things is similar. So it was good to see that, in week 1, and we'll get a second look at it in week 2.
How do you get the defense ready for offenses like that you don't see very often?
You have to try to replicate the speed of that as best as you can. And what we've done, we've taken our starting offense for, about 10 to 12 plays and try to give our defense, our starting defense, a full speed look at what they do. So we're serving each other. Our offense is serving our defense, and our defense is doing the same for our offense, servicing each other and trying to give them a full speed look at that deal. Ultimately, you don't ever get a true look at it until those first few snaps of the game. But as much as you can in practice, you want to try to give them a look at it.
Any surprises you saw from your team last week, or people that stepped up that should be noted?
Yeah, we had several. Mason, outside of holding the ball over his head and dropping it before he got in the goal line. Outside of that, I thought he played his tail off. I thought Preston Reed played his tail off. Cole Sargent, I was surprised by. I thought the offensive line as a whole played better than maybe I thought they would. Honestly, I thought we were able to run the football effectively, protected well outside of maybe one snap. Trayvon went for over 100 yards. I think he had maybe close to $140, something like that. And that's what we expect of him. But those were some of the guys, that performed well, that kind of stood out.
Any issues with injuries or that sort of thing?
No, knock on wood.
There
We're
you
still healthy as can be. A couple bumps and bruises that you'll have playing football, but nothing significant for anybody.
And you guys really didn't have any issues with cramps or anything for a first game, right?
We didn't, no, and I was a little bit concerned about that, to be honest with you. The number of snaps that we got some guys taking in game one and the heat, and typically you run into some type of an issue with that. But we didn't. We didn't have any of it. Listening to some of the guys you were talking to at practice yesterday, talk about how much conditioning we did. I didn't know that we did that much. I thought we did what was necessary. I thought we did what we needed to get ready to play. I never felt like it was, just over the top or anything extreme. I just felt like we were getting ready to play. But no, we didn't have any cramps. I don't think we had any kind of conditioning issues, which typically game one you do have some of that, and I didn't think we did. So that was good.
Oh, we talked about kids going both ways and a lot of snaps. Didn't you say Brody Vincent had 90-something snaps?
He took 93 snaps. He did. He took 38 on offense and I think 55 on defense, if my math's right, somewhere around in there. And we had a couple others that were in the 70s as far as snaps. And then some of those two-way guys, like Jody and Andre, I think they ended up taking somewhere 50, 60 snaps, which is not all that many. They got spelled on offense, played all of them on defense. And then they'd get spelled on offense depending on if we're in a different personnel grouping. So looking at that, they're fine. They can do it. They can play. These are football players. They want to play football. They want to be on the field. It's just more snaps for them, So even you look at Brody and you first hear 93 snaps. That's a lot of snaps. Well, it is. Well, Brody's going to be a college football player next year. Well, college football games are 15 minutes,
right?
12 minutes. You can take 90 snaps in a college football game. Guys do it every Saturday,
right?
So he's not far from doing that anyway. He can do it now, and he stepped up to the plate and he's doing it for his team. So, and that's the conversation I have with those guys. I'm like, look, if you can play, go play. Right. And every one of them's like, Coach, I'm not coming out. I'm like, well, don't. So.
Well, Coleman game. It's a big rivalry, and I know you're going to give me coach speak that it's just it's just the second game of the season, right? But it means a lot to the community.
It does, yeah. Jasper Coleman is a tremendous football game. I know it's you guys, the DME Prep Zone game of the week. It's the Fox 6 game of the week, and that's a big deal. You come to Jasper, you coach at Jasper, and you play at Jasper to be a part of football games like this. And I think a big part of maturity is understanding the situation that you're in. You need to understand how much this football game means to your community and means to your school system and what it means really to everybody involved, But you can't get too caught up in that and get carried away in it. You got to focus on the things you have to do throughout the week to get ready to play. And what I've told my team so far, and they'll hear me say it, 100 more times before we kick off, is that, we got to be at our best when our best is needed, and that's Friday night at 7 o'clock. But what you got to do is you got to make sure you're doing all the things that you're supposed to do along the way so that you can be at your best. Because this game is the most honest thing in the world. If you don't put the work in, it's going to find you out. If you don't do the things you got to do Monday through Thursday to be at your best on Friday, it'll show up. So, that's kind of where we're at. But we understand, the magnitude of Jasper Coleman. This is a great rivalry. I think it's a tremendous rivalry for both of our communities. I think it's a tremendous rivalry for high school football. And we're just thankful to be a part of it, and excited to have an opportunity to compete against those guys. Coach Glasscock does a heck of a job with their program. Those guys do it the right way. They play hard. We're looking forward to a clean, hard-nosed football game. Probably going to come down to the last drive. I think the past few years they've done that. It'll be a one-possession game. It'll be a back and forth. It's going to be a dogfight, and we're thankful to have an opportunity to be a part of it.
Well, what about fans wanting to come to the game? Is there any differences with it being a road game and ticket sales and things like that? Do you know about the Coleman?
So Coleman's rules and regulations are basically the same as what ours were. here as far as 50% capacity. And you can buy tickets online. They'll have plenty of tickets available for that. I think they will have one cash gate, where you can pay at the gate. I talked to Coach Glasscock the other day. But get your tickets early, for this one now. If you definitely want to be there, I'd get them early. And there's a link that we've posted to all of our social media that you can go ahead and get your tickets. So.
Well, and y'all need the support, right?
Absolutely, man. Our fans, we got the best fans in the state, man. And I know they'll have a big crowd that'll show up and that'll travel with us and support us. But, yeah, the more people that are there, pulling for us. Because our kids feel that. You can feel the energy, of the crowd. You can feel the energy of Jasper people. And the more of them that we have there, the better.
Well, Coach, good luck this week.
Thank you.
And next week we'll be talking about our first region game, right?
That's right. Sure will. Yeah.
All right, for Coach Bailey, I'm James Phillips. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Go Vikes.